Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Bestiary Boys, the show where we talk about everything Monster Manual and bestiaries. And Joey, today, what creature are we talking about?
Today we're talking about blood demons.
Blood demons, nice.
And the quote for the blood demon is, "When the bodies started turning up, the village erupted into chaos. Neighbors suspected each other. Several innocent people were executed. But the murders continued. Many fled. Everyone who remained was killed one by one. Except me. I wonder why." And that is from Philemon Amsel. He was apparently the abbot of whatever abbey was in this village.
This is probably one of my favorite quotes, if not my favorite one so far, because it's a total adventure seed, like right in there.
Mm-hmm.
You could send your players to wherever this town is, and maybe there's Philemon the abbot still there for some reason, and that's an entire adventure.
Yep.
Cool stuff.
And then now let's take a look at what the blood demon looks like in the official art.
I'm not going to lie. I was a little disappointed when I saw the artwork because it looks I'm not trying to say his artwork is bad. It's fantastically rendered as always, but the depiction of a blood demon, I did not think was going to be just a giant bat, kind of a werebat looking thing. It even has a loincloth protecting its demon goods. But how do you feel about it?
Honestly, when I first see it, it just makes me think of Man-Bat from Batman the Animated Series, like instantly.
Man-Bat.
And I also, the type of tree that it's on gives me like Jungle Book vibes, which I know is in India, but it also made me think of like Werebat and Man-Bat legends from like different African countries. The Popobawa is what that is called. Or in particular, it's actually like it's an entity, but it'll take the form of like a Man-Bat. So it's it looks less to me like a demon and just more like a very exotic monster.
Yeah, totally, 100%. So if you guys are just listening to this on the podcast and not watching us, it's like Joey mentioned, it's this werebat, humanoid bat kind of thing, hanging onto a tree, got a loincloth, has a very vampire bat kind of face. Definitely arms, but there are some wings underneath underneath the arms. But that is the artwork. So let's talk about what the hell this thing is, though.
Yeah, very Conan looking. Like that looks like it would be Conan.
Yeah, I could see that.
Well, it goes by two names: Blood Demon or Anakui.
Anakui.
Anakui. I
guess there's no pronunciation guide. I'm just guessing.
No, Anakui is probably correct, which is kind of weird because I was interested in that word, in the name Anakui. And when you first look it up on Google, it brings up the Anakui Mountains of Utah.
Oh, interesting.
So I'm assuming it's some kind of, Native American word of some kind.
Sounds like it.
And so this monster's kind of everywhere because it's like a vampire demon. It has kind of like this, Africana artwork to it, but it's also called something that apparently has its roots in perhaps in Native American lore.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a very worldly demon. Let's just say that.
Yeah. It's known for just basically being like a really powerful vampire-esque monster because it's actually like a full-blown demon rather than a human turned into a vampire. Right. But it does the same kinds of things. It talks about the name Anakui stems from the oldest times when the creatures served as scouts and advance units for the vast armies of the demonic realm. The name presumably alludes to the sound of their dreadful roar. So then when I got to that part, I'm thinking, okay, it makes a high, like a bat would, makes like some kind of high-pitched sound. I'm sure that's going to be somewhere in its monster attacks. But although the vampire theory has long been since disproved, which is cool to know about this monster, there may be reason to consider the idea of a kinship between them. According to several accounts, both old and new, the blood demon does not only drink blood, but feasts on the hearts of vanquished foes, preferably just as they stop beating, which that's a gruesome detail that I love.
Yeah, I love that.
And then could blood demons be the original source of vampirism? Which I think probably.
That's my favorite part. Like I talked to you before we started recording about how I am so utterly bored of vampires.
Yeah.
I'm just so vampired out. And so when I got here, I was like, oh, is this thing like a vampire? But then the more I read into it, I'm like, oh, I really like the concept that these are what caused vampires, what created vampires. That's a much cooler, I guess, historical context that, to me, it gives me a lot of ideas how to run these things.
Yeah, for sure. What kind of numbers are we dealing with on this creature?
Oh, wait, before we get to there, I wanted to talk about the demon section at the very beginning because there's some really cool stuff in it.
Oh, yeah.
It's talking about there's an ancient Codex of Chaosium. So no relation to Chaosium, the publisher, but it's kind of like their Necronomicon. And the chronicler of this bestiary is talking about how it's this accursed tome that can only be read by the light of a dying moon. And she was following the safety precautions, allegedly, but it was starting to twist her mind. And we learn more about the demons in general and how that obviously they're from another realm that is, lavas or rivers of lava and stuff like that. And they are created from the essence of where they're from. But the coolest thing I thought is that they hate where they're from. So they're constantly trying to escape to other worlds, to Dragonbane's world, to other worlds, anywhere else. But it was kind of neat to know that there are these creatures that are birthed seemingly from the environment itself, and then their only goal is to corrupt and leave their own realm. I don't know. I found that kind of interesting.
Yeah. And I wonder if it doesn't specifically say here, but a very common trope for demonic-like entities is that even here in our more close to home folklore, you don't ever really kill demons. You just kind of send them back to where they came from. It's like that in Dungeons and Dragons. It's pretty much like that, and it's like that in Legend of Zelda. Even like when you kill the moblins in Breath of the Wild, they don't really die because they come back every time a red moon rises. So I wonder if demons in Dragonbane are like the same way, where like they can only be killed if you kill them in their dimension, then they're dead. If you kill them in the material plane, they just go back. Their souls go back to their version of hell.
Right. You guys experienced the demonic realm very briefly in The Secret of the Dragon Emperor.
It was really weird. Fucking weird.
Yeah.
That was a great session because that was that was great.
Yeah,
Watch it.
Yeah, go check it out. It was toward the end. But anyway, back to the numbers. So let's check out the stat block. Ferocity of 2, so 2 attacks per round. It's large. 14 movement, so this thing can get around. It only has 2 armor, though, which is pretty light, considering. 48 HP, but, like you said, Joey, I haven't really read up a whole lot about demons in general in the Dragonbane system, apart from little stat blocks. And so, I don't know. It does, to me, make sense that they're not killed, but they are sent back versus just, lying there dead on the ground. So Blood Demon can raise D6 living dead, which is also here on page 110 per day. If corpses are available, however, and they're fully controlled by the demon and obey its every command, and at sunrise, though, they drop dead to the ground, but the Blood Demon can always reanimate them again. They have a resistance. They only take half damage from non-magical weapons, except those made of jade, which is kind of an interesting thing. I haven't read that before.
What?
In terms of the jade part. I know, it's kind of random. And nowhere in the description either does it talk about that they're sensitive to jade. It's just here in the stat block. So I'd love to know what the story is. But this next part is really cool. They have a strong heartbeat because we know that they eat the hearts of their victims after they stop beating. So the monster's heart beats so loudly that any awareness roll to detect it is made with a boon. So that's even creepier. Imagine you're, running around at night in the middle of a forest or a ruin or something, and you hear this thump, 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 thump. Like, what the hell is that? Now you're going to know if I ever send a blood demon at you. But still, it's kind of cool because it's a weakness in a way, because it can be heard. And of course, it has wings. The blood demon's wings allow it to move freely through the air. So this thing can dive bomb you like the dragon can. But moving on to monster attacks, the first one is Bloodthirst, which we've talked about briefly in the description, in that it is going to drink the blood of their opponent. And they take D6 piercing damage, and armor has no effect. You also, though, lose D6 willpower points, and you become dazed.
That is brutal.
I'm not sure if you paid attention, but the order of attacks, and at least most of the monsters I've been looking at, they seem to get not so bad to like really bad.
Yeah.
So that is the weakest of this demon's attacks, which is kind of crazy.
That's pretty bad.
It's pretty bad. It's got 3 effects. Yeah. And the next up is when it's shouting its name, Onogui, shrieking it out. It's a terrifying roar, and it gathers all of its strength and raises its arms to the sky, letting out a terrifying roar that can be heard far and wide. Everyone within 20 meters, it almost feels like it could be even farther than that, suffers a fear attack. I might rule that too, depending if you guys are encountering them near a town or something.
Yeah.
It might cause people to go nuts. But then attack number 3 is Venomous Claws. So this monster lunges at you within 10 meters, knocking you down and raking you with its sharp venomous claws. It's 2d6 slashing damage, but also injected with a paralyzing poison of potency 12. So that's a pretty strong poison there. And then we got another scream. First we have a roar, now we have a deafening scream. This one's crazier though, because I believe it's high. It's a pitch so high that it's barely audible, but strong enough to burst their eardrums, because it's more of a cone effect than a AoE kind of thing. So it's a 10-meter cone, and the victims take 2d8 damage. Armor, of course, has no effect. I wonder, I guess helmet wouldn't either. I don't know. Maybe I would.
It's armor, so it would have no effect.
Yeah, I guess rules as written. You also become dazed, so another condition. And this one's cool, the 5th one, long drop. This is when they pick somebody up, they carry them into the air, and on their next turn, they drop them. So they're lifted d6 plus 3 meters into the sky, and then they just drop them instead of doing a monster attack. So that's kind of cool, is that it's almost like a 2 attack or 2 turn kind of command. So
like in Pokemon.
Yeah. And then, you drop them, and of course, you're going to suffer falling damage. And last but not least, this one's pretty damn cool too, Boiling Blood. So the blood demon casts a demonic curse upon an opponent within 10 meters whose blood begins to boil. The victim takes 2d10 damage, armor has no effect, and suffers a fear attack with a bane on the will roll. Hardcore. So
holy shit, this monster is rough.
It's pretty rough. So those are the 6 monster attacks. That's a stop block. Joey, let's talk about how these things can be encountered.
For the random encounter, it says one night when the player characters have set up camp, they hear screaming not far from the campsite. Then they see a shadow pass across the bright moon. A huge bat. I almost read a hung bat. A huge bat like monstrosity that clumsily disappears into the night. If the adventurers investigate what happened, they find the corpses of 2 hunters. Their hearts have been ripped out and their bodies drained of blood. The lack of blood on the ground leads the characters to a hair-raising conclusion. The monster that killed these unfortunate souls also drank their blood. So it's a good setup to kind of give the characters an idea of what they'll be dealing with. And the best part is, if they don't know anything about a blood demon, they're going to think, oh, it's got to be a vampire, right?
Yep, exactly.
But this is worse than a vampire.
Much worse.
Much worse. But that's a good grisly, demon-worthy introduction to the creature. Mm-hmm. But then for the adventure seed, after an encounter with demons or demon cultists, the player characters happen to arouse the curiosity of a demon named Gahans. She orders her servant, the blood demon
Tzinikin? Something like that.
Tzinikin, to follow them and report on their activities and capabilities, which is totally something I've done with villains in games before. It's really fun to do. This goes on for quite some time, and Tzinikin inevitably causes some chaos and destruction along the way, not least the trail of bloodless corpses with a torn out heart left in the character's wake, which soon starts attracting the attention of those around them. So,
this was cool. So at first when I was reading this adventure seed, I was like, whatever, it's kind of ordinary. It's just this demon's hunting the player characters, but when it turns into that they're leading a wake of destruction, that is then people think it's tied to the player characters.
Yeah.
That's all of a sudden when the adventure seed becomes cool for me.
Yep. Because once the characters realize they are being followed and become more vigilant, they may find traces of the demon, the blood demon, here and there. They may even catch a glimpse of its hideous form. The adventurers must set some kind of trap to get rid of their unwanted traveling companion. So yeah, I could totally see. I mean, it doesn't outright say it, but it's definitely giving a GM the implication of let villagers question, like, when you showed up, all of this bad stuff started happening, and maybe even having like a troop of like some local temple or churches, like paladins, or going after them because they're like, they must be demons of some kind.
Exactly.
Everywhere they go, bloodless corpses show up. It's gotta be them. So yeah, that's a really cool adventure scene.
Yeah. It's funny how it started off as kind of ordinary and then turned really cool toward the middle.
Yep. But how would you use a blood demon?
How would I use a blood demon? Well, I think I would take my absolute boredom and disdain of vampires. And I really like this adventure seed as part of like maybe a beginning of something where the players then are drawn into this as they appear to be the villains of this story. And so townspeople are sent after them, or who knows, bounty hunters or something like that. And they have to prove themselves not the people who are doing these dastardly deeds. I think that'd be part of it. I also really like the idea of a bunch of player characters going to a town. All of the signs point to vampires, just like the random encounter kind of suggests. And they find out that it's a blood demon. And so the reason why I think that's cool, I don't know if the blood demon is in cahoots with somebody, like maybe the abbot from the quote.
Right.
Intent, right? I feel like that's what I love about these. They can all be kind of linked together in the description. But I like the idea of subverting the player's expectations, because guaranteed, if you're running a game and people are finding bloodless corpses with their hearts missing, they're going to think vampire. And this would be a great way to introduce a blood demon to your party as the big bad villain at the very end, to kind of make them go, oh shit, I didn't think about that.
Subvert their expectations.
Subversion. I'm always about subversion. And while I hate vampires, I would totally write a vampire adventure with a blood demon at the core of it to subvert their expectations. But what about you? How would you run a blood demon?
Oh, like completely original idea that I think you're going to like a lot. So the blood demon, right? He's this high schooler in a town where it's always foggy, and he meets this girl that he really doesn't know why, but he likes her. I think he smelled her or something, and he just likes her. And how would I use blood demons for real? I would totally. I'm not gonna lie. I think for the blood demon, I am gonna literally just run. Like if it was a one shot, for sure, you're gonna be playing through From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah,
because that is just, to me, that's always been the perfect vampire one shot adventure. Like when I watch movies, I burn in myself by just thinking always, so how is this as a tabletop game campaign? And From Dusk Till Dawn is one of the best ones you could possibly run. I've run From Dusk Till Dawn in various game settings. Really? Anytime there's vampires, and a lot of people that I play with didn't see that film, so they're surprised. Wow. They don't know.
Yeah, it's an older one. Even Lost Boys would be a good one. I think Lost Boys, great plot to bring back. Maybe you're playing with some younger people who've never seen the film. They're not from the 80s. But yeah, that's a really good way. I rarely think in those terms, but I think that's really great advice, to take films as inspiration.
Steal from everything you can. It's your home game. Yep. If you're publishing something, that's different. But if you're just one to like have your party go on a really fun adventure, find any obscure 80s or 90s horror film or adventure film. You're going to have a great time. Totally. 13th Warrior is another great.
13th Warrior is a great one too. I think even if you're publishing it though, you can, unless you're like blatantly copying it, like name and all that, but you could still be inspired by it.
Yeah, you can still be inspired.
You'd be riffing on it pretty much.
Now, if I were to do something more original-ish with the Blood Demon, I really do like the idea of where you brought up with the abbot, and I might make like a shaman or something of some kind who is going around and curing people of their blood diseases. But really what he's doing is he's a blood demon who is literally drinking the diseased blood out of people. Like, he's curing people, he is helping them, but he's also satiating his hunger. And then maybe there's an incident where like he just doesn't hold himself back long enough, but the party finds out that he is helping people and he made one messy, unnecessary kill. And now there's a little bit of a moral conundrum, because it's like, okay, these people who are getting this blood disease, they are actually being helped, and this blood demon is just trying to kind of like make do and survive normally while getting what it wants. I don't know. I thought it might be interesting.
No, that's cool. I like that. That's totally cool. Well, I guess moving on, we got a viewer showcase to talk about.
Shit.
We got two. Oh, shit, indeed. We got two submissions. The first one is from Captain Flunder, who you remember from the Basilisk video.
Yes.
He has a really cool illustration right here. I'm going to put it up as always. But what was funny is he dropped it into our Discord server. And he didn't know what was going on. He said that, like, I have no idea what this thing is supposed to look like, because we try to not show you guys what the art is, so you won't have any reference, so to speak. But he submitted this really damn cool thing that you want to describe it, Joey, for the people who are listening.
It's just this kind of bean-shaped looking guy.
Bean-shaped, that's a good one.
He has on these tattered robes that are soaked in blood at the sleeves and at the bottom, and he's got soaked blood on like the front neck area, because he's just got blood coming out of his mouth, and he's got a bunch of these needles stuck in his back, which are also bleeding out, and he's got one of those needles in his hand. It is. I want to use this guy in a game. He's just...
Yeah, he's also wearing a cloak, so he's kind of... Or a cloak or a robe, I guess. Yeah. So it's not just like a naked beast. He's got this weird robe on, too, that makes you wonder, does he have feet under there? Is he like Chet from Weird Science? Or it's just like a big fat turd under there? I have no idea. But yeah, it's a really cool illustration.
I love it. Your work is always really fun to look at.
Yeah, it's super
Captain
great.
Flunder.
Yeah, thanks for sending it in. I look forward to what you send in next time. All right, the next submission we have is from another frequent submitter, Bunny Cat Likes. And this one, I wonder if she got a peek at the monster manual. Because this one, or if this, what do you think? Is this a unique creation? Because I see some similarities, but I also see a lot of differences.
I'm pretty sure she did see what the monster looked like, and I think she also was thinking, well, that's a little less imaginative than I thought it would be.
Yeah, exactly. That's not just us.
But yeah, so she did this really quickly. She actually, when she sent it in, she said, hey, she pretty much paraphrased, like, this ain't my best work. I did it with color pencils. I didn't have time to paint this time around. But I do like the detail of, like, it's got, like sunken in rib cage and stuff, like it's gaunt looking and destitute looking, like a demon that comes from a plane of existence that it would want to escape. So she definitely captured it. This looks more demonic than the normal version.
100%. Yeah, to me, this is leaning way more into demon, less in the bat. There's still some bat qualities to it, but much more demonic. And I
was gonna say, it looks like kind of like almost like a classic medieval demon depiction.
Yeah, totally does. But what I wanted to point out is I love this demon's a little sassy, I think.
Yes.
Because got one hand on the hip, got another hand out here. I don't know, is it holding something? There's like a little dot. I don't know if it's
maybe it flicked
a drop of blood off its hand. Yeah, I don't know what that is, but I love that little touch.
Yeah, even its face looks sad. Like it's got one eyebrow slightly up. Yeah. Like it's like yeah. I like it.
Yeah, it's awesome. So thank you so much again for submitting something. It's awesome, and we look forward to what you guys do next time. Speaking of next time, or is there anything else about blood demons you wanted to talk about?
You know what? I think this might be, it's a cool monster, but I think this might be my least favorite one so far in the book.
Yeah,
for two reasons. One, I wish the artwork was a little bit more
demonic.
Just something else, you know?
Demonic.
And then two, I really hope you never have to use one of these on us because it is really freaking strong.
It is.
It's
crazy. Yeah,
even though it has,
even though the hit points and the armor don't seem high, these attacks are freaking brutal.
And we have to have magical weapons, or it takes half. It's got like armor. It's got half armor already.
Mm-hmm.
So if I roll a D10 for my short sword and I roll a 10, well, I'm only doing 5, but it has 2 armor, so really I'm only doing 3. Like, that's insane.
And not only that, don't forget, it raises the undead. So that's not part of a monster attack. D6
ruins
undead.
The action economy.
Yeah, exactly. D6 undead are raised as long as it's night, I believe. And then they drop down to the ground. Yeah, exactly. Sunrise, they fall to the ground, but they can be reanimated.
Yeah, definitely don't use more than one of these in a fight. This is a boss fight. Unless you're like super decked out with, like, you've taken robust a few times, you got some focused heroic abilities under your belt, you got magic weapons. This could easily kill a party that hasn't adventured for very long.
You know, it'd be a cool little homebrew thing. So what if you encounter this blood demon and then one of the characters dies and then you reanimate them as part of their living dead?
That'd be
pretty
cool.
cool.
That would be cool.
Cool. All right. Well, next week. Oh, yeah, we are skipping 1 week, but we will be back the week after that. So for that week, what are we talking about?
For that week, we're going to be looking at the Brook Horse.
A really weird, a really cool creature that we'll get into then. Let's just say visually, it doesn't appear to be that interesting, but I think that's the charm of it.
Yeah. It's different than this. It's meant to be that way.
Yeah,
for
totally.
Like real obvious reasons. Also, really quick, if you know why this thing would be weak to Jade, like if you know of any werebat lore or bat demon lore, like let me know. I'm going to research it, but if you already know, let me know, because that's a weird one.
Yeah, and if we find out, we'll drop in the comments so you guys know too. But anyway, thank you guys for hanging out with us, and we will see you next time with a Brick Horse.